what's going on in Ukraine and the situation in the Red Sea has definitely made most of the European and NATO navies in general more aware of the need to increase their offensive capabilities, and therefore being able to counter-strike and not only to defend themselves, and therefore equip their vessels with long-range cruise missiles that can counter potential attacks. I am Giovanni Rasio, Senior Naval Analyst at Shephard Group's Defense Insight, and I mainly focus on military procurement programs, in particular naval shipbuilding, with a strong focus on surface combatants and submarines. Yes, there has been a clear emphasis on the underwater dimension with a lot of new sensors presented. This stems from obviously the need of increase the situational awareness in the underwater domain, also through the use of unmanned systems, which is obviously increasing, although the use of submarines from the main NATO countries will continue to be very important for most of the nations. And also I would mention the focus that has been put on strike capabilities as well for like a lot of countries now, and that has been quite different compared to the previous edition of Euroval in 2022, where like strike capabilities and cruise missile weren't under the spotlight as they were during this year. I think obviously what's going on in Ukraine and the situation in the Red Sea has definitely made most of the European and NATO navies in general more aware of the need to increase their offensive capabilities, and therefore being able to counter-strike and not only to defend themselves, and therefore equip their vessels with long-range cruise missiles that can counter potential attacks. Yeah, absolutely. I think there has always been a kind of modernization factor in the dynamics of the shipbuilding in general. So we have a lot of countries that are just increasing the pace of their modernization programs due to regional security threats stemming from the Red Sea and Ukraine, and also due to NATO commitments. We all know that now most of the countries have been asked to increase their commitment through the burden sharing within the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So those are all factors that are playing an important role in shaping the market and the whole dynamic of the market. In terms of, again, coming back to the underwater dimension, the necessity of persistently engage in some areas, in particular, I'm thinking about the Asia Pacific or the North Atlantic, is requiring, again, a more persistent presence of submarine platforms in some areas, and most of the navies are now dealing with the problem of manning, so not having enough manpower to crew submarines and surface ships. And here the use of uncrewed systems is becoming more and more relevant. Obviously, we are at the beginning of this process. Most of the players in the industry are approaching this new technology. Also, thanks to the kind of synergies with the civilian sector, which is surprisingly, I would say, also making a difference in the kind of development and R&D process. But that's definitely an area that is influencing and will shape the market even more, I believe, in the next few years. Yeah, I think Naval Group definitely took the stage in its home kind of exhibition, they displayed their whole portfolio from, again, unmanned systems with their extra large UUV that they've been testing since a couple of years. And also they displayed their brand new frigates that they are trying to pitch also to other European countries after selling it to their home navy and to Greece. And also submarines. At the moment, they are quite aggressive in the submarine market, being able to propose both conventionally powered submarines, two different models, the Scorpion and the Black Sword Barracuda, and also the nuclear version of the Barracuda submarine. Other players were definitely MBDA, the European consortium, the missile manufacturers, which again was like focused its portfolio of products now on new strike missiles. This program is now getting together France, the UK, and also Italy, and they presented the latest kind of updates regarding these new two anti-ship cruise missiles, the RJ-10, which is going to be a high maneuverable, high-speed missile, and the TP-15, which is going to be a ultra-low observable platform, which in the hopefully early 30s will equip the three navies, the Italian, the French, and the Royal Navy. And lastly, also Fincantieri, the Italian shipbuilder, unveiled the latest iteration of this multi-purpose combat ship that was previously referred to as the PPA. Again, coming back to the trends, they increased the number of vertical launching system of the platform, doubling basically the number of cells available to increase the strike capabilities and the firepower that the ship will be able to deliver once delivered and in service. I think again the MBDA kind of project that is bringing together three nations in the development of the next generation cruise missiles is quite significant. In terms of surface combatants, the European Patrol Corvettes program is another program that is worth mentioning, I believe, because of its nature. It's been launched through the European Defence Fund initiative. We are around the second call right now, so the European Union and the European Commission in particular is actively funding the program that will hopefully bring to light a modular patrol corvette that will be modular in nature and will be tailored on the need of the navies that will acquire the platform, in particular Spain, Greece, France, and Italy. So it will be a common platform in terms of hull, but then in terms of sensors and weapon systems and power propulsion, there will probably be a couple of different configurations in order to meet the requirements of the navies that are currently, of the nations that are currently in part of the program. I think to come back to the underwater domain, the deal that has been recently awarded to Naval Group for the Orca submarine program in the Netherlands has been quite significant. It's the main submarine procurement program in the European Union, together with the Polish one, the Orca program that is most likely going to be awarded in 2025 or 2026. But I think the deal with Naval Group and the Royal Dutch Navy has been significant, in particular because the kind of propulsion system that has been chosen for the submarine. Other players were all proposing an air-independent propulsion system, such as SAB or TKMS, which has also sold the same submarine to Germany and Norway. Whereas the choice to award the contract to Naval Group and therefore relying on a different configuration that in this case is still going to be conventional, diesel-electric, but fully relying on a configuration of lithium-ion batteries, is a sort of first of its kind, at least in Europe. We are seeing this already in Asia with Japan, that has opted for this technology a few years ago with the Taigei class, but it's the first time that we are witnessing this sort of choice in Europe, and I think it's quite relevant considering that for decades the AIP propulsion has been seen by most of the navies as the most obvious choice as a replacement for the conventional diesel-electric propulsion system relying on lead-acid batteries. So I think that's the most important thing to mention about the program. Yeah, UUVs are definitely shaping the market, also due to the fact that they will heavily rely on artificial intelligence. And here I would like to mention what BAE is doing with the Hearn XL AUV, which they will they have been testing it for a while, and they are constantly conducting tests together with the Royal Navy. And I think what's interesting here, again, as I mentioned earlier, the kind of synergies that we are witnessing with the civilian industry, the autonomy and all the kind of software development is being positively impacted by this. So the progresses that have been achieved with AI in the civilian market have been instrumental in the development also of military platforms such as the Hearn XL AUV. And this is very, very, very important because you seldom hear about how the civilian market in general is contributing to the development of military platforms, whereas we are achieving this way and way more. And again, to make some reference to what I previously mentioned with lithium-ion batteries, the kind of level of performance we have now achieved with lithium-ion batteries on board submarines would have never been possible probably without the push of innovation coming from the automotive industry. That's something that it's worth highlighting when we consider the whole ecosystem of the defense industry and the whole spending issue that is affecting the market. I think the clear focus will remain on submarines, although the reliance on unmanned systems will be important and will definitely increase. For the underwater dimension, submarines will remain of paramount importance for most of the navies. Regarding surface combatants, I think, and from what we are seeing by relying on data for the estimates, I think corvettes and frigates will lead most of the investments in the next 10 to 15 years, thanks to their flexibility and the capability of fulfill different missions, although in some cases they will remain focused on a specific task, such as anti-air warfare or anti-submarine warfare. But thanks to their inherent characteristics, they will always be capable of fulfilling other tasks. And I think Northern Europe, Scandinavia in particular, will be the hot market in the next 10 to 15 years from a European perspective, because those are the most competitive countries in terms of opening up opportunities for big players from continental Europe to compete. And here I'm making a reference to Norway, for example, with the frigates program that will replace the current frigates they have in service from the late 2020s or the early 2030s. The corvettes that both Norway and Sweden are looking to acquire, and then Denmark will soon publish this plan, more detailed plan about how they will see the Navy evolving in the next 20 years, and therefore which platforms they will require to operate in the Arctic and to keep operating in the North Atlantic gap, to keep monitoring the submarine dimension. So Denmark, the Netherlands, Germany are all and Poland are all countries that will lead the investment and will have those sort of open opportunities that will allow the big players, Navantia, Fincantieri, Naval Group, TKMS, Damen, all to compete together. No, I don't think so. No, at least not in Europe. But let's say the inherent characteristic of nowadays scenarios, I don't think they fit anymore the kind of requirements that led to the development of battleships, unfortunately. Aircraft carrier, yeah. The only nation at the moment which is looking at least in the short term, procuring an aircraft carrier in Europe is the French. It's the French Navy, the Marine Nationale. They are looking at replacing the in-service Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier, and yeah, it's important because it's the only nuclear-powered aircraft carrier we have in Europe at the moment. We have the Queen Elizabeth class in the UK, but it's conventionally powered, whereas the French Navy is investing in a massive program to build a new aircraft carrier that will probably, with a contract that will probably be awarded next year or the year after, to build around 70,000 tons nuclear-powered aircraft that will probably enter service around the end of the next decade. It will be built in Chantier de l'Atlantique, which is the only shipyard in France which is capable of building such a ship, designed by Naval Group, obviously, and it will embark the Rafale, of course, and hopefully the next generation FCAS SCAF aircraft that it's being jointly developed by France, Germany, and Spain. We have other examples in Europe of countries that are looking at conventional kind of aircraft carriers platform. Italy will induct into service a new one, although officially labeled as an amphibious ship. It will be able to operate up to 20 F-35Bs, which is quite relevant. So it will be effectively like a carrier strike group together with other ships. Spain will most likely start thinking in the next 10 years or so about how to replace their LHD, that is again an amphibious ship, but operating also as an aircraft carrier with the AV-8B Harriers, vertical takeoff and short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft. Again, Turkey is another country that has officially started discussion to build a new aircraft carrier after inducted into service the Anadolu LHD. Will we have a relevant component of unmanned systems for its air wing? So yeah, the kind of investments are ongoing. Obviously, the timeline are way longer compared to other shipbuilding programs because of the nature of the ships we are talking about. But yeah, I don't think aircraft carriers are going away in the near future. They will remain. Okay. The conclusion is definitely that investments are increasing after years where probably the focus has been put on other areas of the military affairs. So navies are finally getting back the importance and the interest they deserve because of their expeditionary nature, because of the flexibility that a navy provides to a country, and the focus also has shifted toward the capabilities that ships will be able to deliver once they leave port. So increased offensive capabilities, as I mentioned, with new strike capabilities, but also an increased focus on defensive capabilities to face the current threat, and learning by what's going on in the Black Sea and in the Red Sea especially. So this learning process is ongoing, but I think the market and the navies have been quite reactive in understanding what the current scenarios are dictating in terms of capabilities, and they've been, at least initially now, quite reactive in implementing the right solutions, and the market being able to provide the solutions at time. And obviously the uncrewed components will grow, and to help navies also to face this manpower issue that I don't see will improve in the next few years. So this is the best short-term solution that will probably help navies to deal with this, especially in the underwater dimension, but also in the surface dimension. I believe in the next few years we will witness European navies relying more and more on these kind of platforms.